police responding to a 911 call about a mentally ill person acting out. The mentally ill person doesn't comply, ultimately ends up dead. The latest case is making headlines out of Dallas this past June. I want to warn you, the video that we just received at CNN, it is the body cam video from the perspective of the police officer. We're about to show it to you. It is very graphic. It's very distressing. It shows two officers arriving at a Dallas home. The mother of the mentally ill man who called 911 says that her son is, quote, and I'm using her words, bipolar schizo. Everything seems very calm. 38-year-old Jason Harrison then appears behind his mother right before the officers, and he's holding a screwdriver. And it is but seconds later that he is on the ground unconscious and bleeding to death, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. I want you to watch the video for yourself so that you can decide if you think that the officers acted appropriately.
Whitmire cry?
Huh?
Whitmire cry? Oh, he didn't want to spend the money.
Police. Hello. What's going on?
How you doing, man? What's going on?
Oh, this is off the chain. Incoherent.
Who's that?
Chopping up people in the sun. Bipolar schizo.
What's going on?
You drop that for me. Drop that for me, guy.
Jay!
Drop it.
Jay!
Drop it.
Jay! Oh, you can't look down! Oh, you can't look down!
Bravo 7.
Drop it.
Shots fired. Cover code 3. Drop that.
Drop it. Drop it.
Put it down. Bravo 725. We don't need fire rescue at this location. We got a black male. Gunshot wound to the torso.
10-4-2-8, Glen Cairn. I need code 3 cover.
God. We're all right, man. It's all right, buddy. Drop it, guy.
Put the damn thing down. Put the screwdriver down. Put the screwdriver down.
Drop it. Just stay back, guy. Just stay back. We're getting more people in here, guy.
10-4.
Nothing.
Put the screwdriver down.
Drop it, guy. Man, stand back on
Is your
it.
camera rolling?
Yeah, it's rolling. Yours?
Mine's, of course, mine crapped out. Man.
Bravo 736, you want to go that way instead? 10-4.
Drop it, guy.
He's unconscious.
It's just harrowing to hear that mother crying in the background. The camera did not stop recording. It also picked up a conversation between the officers moments after the shooting. Have a listen.
He's still alive. He's still alive.
10-4.
We handcuff him? Just kick that over there. Don't let that get too far.
Yeah.
Rocky,
Yeah, watch that. He was in the doorway. He had a screwdriver. We had this behind us. We had to shoot. He came at us.
So what do you want me to do? Watch this?
Just watch that. Yeah.
If I'm going to go ahead and put a case number on the call sheet.
Ma'am, is there anybody else in the house?
Where's the screwdriver at?
It's right there.
10-4. Delta 753. Keep them coming. It's slowing down. We need some crime scene tape out here.
We
Anybody in around have crime
we should
scene
probably
tape?
talk about it, but yeah, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. Yeah. He's alive. We need TFR here.
I know, they're en route.
I want to discuss the officer's actions with former police officer Dennis Root, who now trains officers in safe arrest tactics. And along with me, also HLN legal analyst Joey Jackson and CNN legal analyst Danny Savalos. Mr. Root, if I can ask you right off the bat, these officers, this has been investigated. These officers are back on the job. It's very hard to know the entire picture by seeing that one body cam perspective. But from what you've seen, did you see anything untowards on the part of the officers in this response?
You know, when we really take a look at the video, like you've already mentioned, it's a very small snapshot in time. There's multiple things to be considered. The first thing is the objective reasonableness of the use of deadly force, whether they perceived an actual threat to their lives or the lives of the other individual involved. Then you also have to consider the training and things that go into dealing with somebody who has emotional issues or mental health issues. So when you look at it, the officers have to be able to articulate their fear for their lives and the safety, maybe even of the young man's mother. But then we also have to remember our interactions and how they're going to feed into an event. When you're dealing with somebody that has mental health issues, the way you communicate and the things that you do can either escalate the situation or de-escalate the situation. And I see from a training perspective where we have a variety of things, whether it be the consideration of how the event began to unfold, the way that they were interacting with somebody that they knew from history within the community that he has mental health issues, all the way up to and including the rendering of aid. I mean, that was even something that, from watching the video.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I could not help but notice, listen, that video goes on a lot longer than we just aired on CNN. And it looked like at no point, or certainly for several minutes, at least 6, I would say, at no point did any of the officers render aid. Is that part of protocol, or is that troubling?
For me, from my perspective, it's troubling because they were involved in what they perceived apparently as a deadly force encounter. They did have a gentleman armed with a screwdriver that could be used to inflict serious bodily injury or death. But once they had secured him, in other words, they had already fired their shots, they had removed the threat, they had taken the weapon away. Now they have an obligation to properly secure him, whether that be with handcuffs just because they felt in fear of him, but also to render aid. Once the force is over, once they've achieved the objective, now they have a responsibility to do something to try to help the individual that they were just involved in this conflict with. So I think that really when you look at the training aspects and things like that, we really have to take into consideration how much time is being allotted for officers to learn proper intervention techniques and something as simple as first aid. Believe it or not, there's a lot of agencies that render minimal training in that specific topic area by itself. Let
me bring in Danny and Joey on this. As attorneys, listen, we need to be very clear that the family has launched a civil lawsuit against the Dallas PD. There is, in some of the court filings, there are suggestions that the police officers and fire and rescue and EMTs, et cetera, had been to this house 100+ times. 100+ times. Does that speak against the officers, or does that speak for the officers, given that they would have felt comfortable being there and that something must have happened for them to actually end up opening fire? Danny?
We've come a long way in responding to calls with mental illnesses and police training. In Dallas, like many other cities, police are trained in or through CIT, crisis intervention teams, to respond specifically to the growing problem of calls with mental illness. But that being said, even taking a 5-day course on how to respond to something like this, a call like this, put that up against the hours, the months, the years of training that police get, that at any moment, any event can escalate into something deadly. And what you have as a result is this sort of firing of neurons that clash with each other in the heat of the moment. Yes, they've been trained how to de-escalate a situation with someone with mental illness, but at the same time, they have so much training. They're so trained that anything could be deadly in a moment.
Joey, the police, in their defense, they say that this man lunged at them. It's hard to tell from that perspective. You really have to slow it down, watch it a whole bunch of times, and be a better investigator than I. Right. But again, they've been there hundreds of times. Can you see this playing the other way, or does this say, you'd been there hundreds of times and you knew what he was like?
Let's unpack this. I don't purport to know what police officers go through on the street, what must be a very difficult job. My dad was one. Through him I know, through being a former prosecutor I know, but I don't know. But I will say this. I analyze this in 2 respects. Number 1, was there an imminent threat posed that created sort of a deadly situation? Did they fear for their own life, or did they fear for serious bodily harm? That's number 1. Even if you get to that step and answer yes, what concerns me and troubles me greatly is step number 2. Is the force you use proportionate to the threat posed? There needs to be, should be, and is a use of force continuum wherein police officers generally have pepper spray for a reason. They generally have a taser for a reason.
But if
they
you're-
generally have a
if you're
nightstick
3
for a
feet
reason.
away, if
That
you're
can be
3 feet
debated and
away.
argued, absolutely. And, you know, look, ultimately it will be. There's litigation that'll
Right.
ensue. We could examine, re-examine. There may be a jury that's convened to look at that. But there needs to be some continuum wherein the force that you use is proportionate to the danger that's posed, and we have to evaluate, should we shoot now and ask questions later?
Right.
That's the troubling point.
I mentioned that the civil lawsuit is against the Dallas PD. It's against the 2 members of the Dallas PD, and that is ongoing, and we'll continue to watch that. Danny and Joey, thank you for that. No matter
Thank you,
how you
Ashley.
slice it, that is just so awful, especially that mother.
Howling there. It's just-
Howling. She's in the middle of it all. It's just awful. Dennis Root, thank you so much for your insight as well. Very helpful to understand this, and I think such incredible information and so necessary for so many members across the country.